actually saying that we might not.
We're all okay. We're all good to go. All okay. And then in the centre, we've got Steve Totty, who's the managing director of Star GB. Welcome, Steve.
Well, I should be welcoming you technically. I work here.
Okay then. Welcome to the podcast, but thank you for having us.
No, you're welcome. It's always nice to have, you here, Lyndsey, not so much Paul, but...
I've got a funny feeling we're going to have a little bit of banter today. Right, okay. Just a big warm welcome to all of you who's listening and watching. You're going to have a real treat today because we're going on a little bit of a tour. So I'm going to be touring the facility which I toured earlier, so you're going to be listening to that momentarily. But also we're going to be talking about the UK launch of Star's new SD26 machine. Very, very excited. You're going to be doing some touring around the show as well.
So we're going to be looking at a new product from FMB, a new bar feed product, which is going to be interesting. We're also going to be talking about Step Cycle Pro, which is fairly new from Star as well. So we're going to have Steve on the set too. So looking forward to that. And we're also going to have some guests, some customers of Star, but also not just customers that have currently got machines, ones that have just ordered machines, and it's their first venture into sliding head technology. So it's going to be an exciting watch and listen, depending on
exactly. And we're going to be going technical as well. So if you want that side of things, brilliant. But if you're new to sliding head technology, then talk to us, because I walked in today and there's a company, Wath Group. I've interviewed them previously. They came in and they're like, we just haven't ventured into this world, so we're coming here today to find out more. So if that's you as well, hopefully you're going to get something out of this. Message into us as well. We've got the facility, in fact I've got the facility on my phone right now to get any of your questions live. So you might be watching on catch up or listening on catch up, but if you are live, get those questions in and I will be able to answer them. Well, I'll send them to the professionals who will be able to answer them, won't we?
I think she looked at you and said professional then, Paul.
That's two, Steve. That's two digs you've had at me already.
They're not digs. When it's honesty, it's not a dig.
And how are you anyway? You keeping all right?
Yeah, good, thank you. We're a bit too much travelling lately. We're over in Japan, in IMTS earlier, then Jimtoff. So back to normal, if it's normal.
But this is the first time for a few years you've been able to do that, hasn't it? You've been able to enjoy getting around, out and about. What's the importance of that for you as the managing director of Star? I'm just going to move your mic up so that we got...
Yeah, I don't know what's happened, but my chair's gone a little bit lower as well. So I've gotten a little bit shorter.
Might be better off just keeping your hand on it a bit,
just so you can hear it a little bit clearer.
Or if David can come in and just position that. But yeah, what is the importance to you as the MD?
Well, I mean, exhibitions in general are something that we as a company worldwide, exhibit out, and we like to go and attend to see not just what our new machines are doing, but also to keep abreast of tooling, technologies, ancillary equipment, all the other things that our customers require. They don't just require a machine and a bar. So being able to go over them and see that keeps us abreast. And then, Jimtoff, we're a Japanese company. It's just great to go there to see the people we deal with on a daily basis after 4 years of no face-to-face. A Zoom meeting with Japan isn't ideal. Time differences cause problems, so it was just great to go to the factory. We've built a new technology centre that opened 2 years ago. Nobody's been. We missed the grand opening. We missed the 70-year anniversary of our company. All these things because of COVID. So the opportunity to get back was just,
What was the show? I did go to IMTS, but I didn't go to Jimtoff. I know Lyndsey wanted to go to Jimtoff, but she didn't. She wasn't allowed in the end.
Well, it's that 1 day a week job. It's difficult.
Yeah.
All right.
What was it like? What was the Jimtoff show like?
It was quite different because there were very few from Chinese visitors, very few from Korea. So a lot of machine tool manufacturers, Asian machine tool manufacturers weren't there. But from Star's point of view, good attendance numbers, 20,000+ a day, which is a little bit down. But when you look at UK exhibitions and European exhibitions, phenomenally well attended, it's a show that I think if anybody has the opportunity to go, it's different from all the other major trade shows. It is very Asian, but there is a lot of technology, there's a lot of automation.
Isn't it a place where people kind of benchmark their latest new products? There's a lot of that.
We always launch at Jimtoff. We launch at Jimtoff and IMTS for a reason, and then EMO for the year after. So it is a, there were English customers over there that we met up with who would always go, because that's the place to see from a Japanese point of view, and as a machine tool manufacturer, that's the place to exhibit your new products.
I was talking to Chaz earlier and talking about travelling. You had, was it from Israel? There was a team of people from Israel that actually came and visited yesterday here, because basically the support that they get from you guys is so strong that they had so many questions to throw at you, and they all came over and visited you guys.
Yes, it's an easy place for them from Israel to get here. Time difference isn't bad. They can get here. Language is no problem, and we have this facility. So the guys from Israel are a dealer. They don't have this luxury. So for them to bring people over and they arrived on Monday and spend a full day on site. We were looking at specific components they were bringing. It worked very well, and we can help. We're all part of a worldwide company. So.
Yeah.
And as for what you're showing here, Steve, then this week at your open house?
SD26 really is, we're doing an open house at the wrong time of the year. We're normally earlier, but the machine had to be A and B, then had to go to BMU. We'd like to bring it just to give our customers the opportunity. This machine isn't available till the middle of next year. Bearing in mind we sold one at IMTS by somebody who never even attended, but bought one and committed to that. But yeah, it's to show our customers that, and also the new F&B. Lots of we've got J&S here with British-made products, ancillary products. Is a good opportunity for people not just to see them, but to see them in action and sort of integrated with our machines.
I want to ask you just a couple of, if you could just be conscious of the mic when you're turning, even if you turn to Lyndsey. The marketplace at the moment, since we've come out of COVID, and thinking about 2023 with the increased costs in power and things like that, what's your expectation, and how have you found this year?
Record year for us this year. I think I've been on camera a couple of times before saying that order intake is probably 35% above what we've ever had before. Deliveries will match that, but we're carrying already pretty much half of what we need per year already in backlog for next year. So we can read and hear about recession. I can only tell you what I see and what we see. We've sold machines this week already, not expected, but we have. So yeah, for me, there's got to be a slowdown of some sort, but I don't know, reshoring, work coming back all the time, customers telling me they're busy,
I think you're at the end or in a position in the market where you're seeing companies that are looking at ways of making parts in a more efficient way, aren't you? You're seeing companies that have got components that they may have made in a different way that are now adopting this sort of technology to machine those faster, unmanned, reliably, in order to reduce their cost per part, really to protect themselves and protect their business.
And machinery, it's easy. Machinery develops, but cutting tools develop, oils develop, all the other things that help run unmanned. And running single shifts, you can't be competitive. You need to be running 24 hours a day, and the technology is there. We can monitor parts, we can gauge the parts in process. There's lots of things to allow you to run unmanned and therefore lower your overhead and therefore be competitive.
You see a lot of Steve's and Star's customers when you're out and about, don't you?
Absolutely.
Talking about the same things, that unmanned run, that ability to walk away from...
Just the least amount of human intervention possible. And as I spoke to Chaz earlier, just saying basically that part, ATOP's down to 1, it's all done on the machine in one go. You get that part off. All it needs to do is be washed and sent out to the customer using all of these pieces of technology. And he was just saying that's what people are going for, categorically, hands down. That's what their achievement is trying to be, and they can do a lot with these machines.
Well, yeah, the message, I think over the years, was difficult to get out to people who needed to be sort of converted, and without saying because you guys, things like your channel promoting and showing people what's out there has allowed people to to look at it and realise it's not some black art anymore.
No.
It's a fixed head lathe or a VMC together doing simple parts or complex parts, but doing them in one hit.
It's quite funny. I always do my research before I come out to an event, and the first thing I did was type in SD26 Star, and I had a video come up straight away from Geo, from A&B, talking about this machine, and it's simplifying it, it's getting that message out there. Those guys today who I've spoken to already, they're intrigued by this world of sliding head machines. Come here and have a look.
I think if you walk around a show like this, what you'll see is, and there's probably a deliberate tactic in it, understandably, is parts that you might not really associate with this type of machine often. Certain materials you might not associate with the machine.
Get one of those parts.
And those types of things will illustrate to companies that these machines will make things beyond what they probably expect. And I assume that's probably a big message from you, isn't it?
Even years ago, when Bob was in charge, it was always pertinent. Is these machines? It's your imagination. What do you want to do? The machines can do it. Whereas when I started 20 plus years ago, we made simple turn parts. People bought sliding heads to make simple turn parts. But as the machines have evolved and people's mindset has looked at it different, we're making parts that are, all sorts of shapes and sizes. To get a turn part every now and again is quite a luxury. To give one of our apps guys, I don't need a collet that's milled out with a profile. It's a round collet, and it's a bit of a luxury, really.
Yeah. Well, you've got some components there.
Yeah, I've just grabbed a couple of parts now, which one's an impeller, and one is what we're going to bring home soon.
In a couple of weeks' time, hopefully.
Hope so.
And for those people listening, you need to go onto our YouTube channel and watch this to actually see these parts, because this podcast is being filmed as well.
But I think it's the fact that we're talking about now. Okay, we were talking about sliding heads, but now we're talking about simultaneous machining, one-hit machining, and all these parts. They're proof here. You guys working with SolidCam to get these parts off. These are impressive. People are walking around here going, can you really make this on these machines?
Exactly, and a lot of people won't make parts like that, but having the capability to do it, 95% of Star's customer base are subcontractors. So having the facility to be able to do angled holes or 5-axis machining, they may never need it, but they're having the luxury of having it on the machine gives them the opportunity, if it does arise, that they can be competitive and get into markets that they wouldn't have done.
And there was also what used to be discussed about with these machines is they were more maybe for lighter duty machining, but that's changed a lot in recent years as well, with heavier bases on the machines, more rigid construction, bigger guideways, all more powerful motors. So they've taken the technology that can make more complex parts and then added the rigidity to do those complex parts on difficult materials as well, which means the opportunities are almost endless, aren't they?
Yeah, no, you're right, and it's always been a bit of a myth that old days, like sort of sliding heads are like little sewing machines. You can only do this, that, and the other. We've got 42 mil bar, 3 meters, 4 meters long, and you can put a 20 mil U-drill through it at a feed and speed you'd do on a fixed head. We've got chucking cylinders now rather than toggles. So as the machines have been upgraded in size, they've upgraded the physicality of the machine and the strength and power.
Yeah. You talked about how diverse the machines are and you can almost do anything. Is that a bit like Sheffield United now on the football pitch?
Oh, look.
Come on, Paul. Just because for once Arsenal are doing all right.
I can sit here with a smile on my face at the moment, yeah. It might not last long, but it's going to last a few weeks.
At least you're the best team in your city like we are in ours.
Yeah.
I think we're going to leave it there, right? This event is actually on tomorrow as well. So if you're listening, of course, listen away, watch away. But if you'd like to come and visit, it's still on tomorrow. I think we're going to head now to a tour. Is there anything last thing that you want to say?
Oh, I would imagine you're calling it now because the pizza's ready and Paul looks like he's hungry.
To be fair, I'll probably...
That's the third. Third and final.
3 strikes and I'm out.
3 strikes, you're out. You can go get your pizza now. But let's have a look at the tour that I went on with Matt earlier on. We're here at Star's Open House event. Welcome, because this is your tour. And we've got Matt Lee here. How you doing, Matt?
I'm very well. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. You know what I've been doing this morning? I've been interrupting him with so many customers already, so I've torn you away.
Well, you've got to do these things. It's all for advertising.
It is. Well, let's advertise your machines right now. We're going to take you on a tour. We're going to cover, I think there's 6 machines, isn't there?
Yeah.
So if you have a little look around. Also with all the machines, you've got all their partners as well. So they're partners that they are working with regularly, essentially, to provide solutions for you.
Absolutely, they're essential really. It helps give us really good solutions for the customers.
Okay, so let's have a look at the first machine. Now this machine here, SR20R4 Type B. What is this machine then?
So this is one of our more complex 20mm machines. This one's got a B-axis. So for customers that are doing more complex parts, they can do angled features and angled holes. I'll show you some examples a bit later, so give you an idea of what the machine can do.
So why are you wanting more complex parts? Is this like market driven?
Yeah, absolutely. We seem to be seeing more complex, smaller parts and big ones, to be fair. Customers want to get the parts off in one hit, so more tools required, and so these kind of machines are perfect for the kind of job.
And who's the ideal customer for this machine?
To be fair, it seems to be everyone, whether it be an OEM or a subcontractor. We've got both kind of areas covered.
And why is that?
It's that drive to make parts more efficiently. Yeah.
Okay, and you told me power is something that Star are really, really heavily increasing in the machines now. Why is that? Why is a machine better because it's got more power behind it?
It's better metal removal rates or just material removal, so you can tackle the job a lot harder and you're not struggling, especially with like the tougher materials. I mean, this machine's a great example where the sub-spindle's the same power as the main, so that's quite unique really in the sliding head world. And even on the live tool power, you're talking like 2.2 kilowatts. Might not sound a lot, but on this size machine, small bar, that's actually quite a lot.
Yeah. Okay, and let's go down to one of the machines here. There are people in front of it, but we can go down there. Step Cycle Pro. We're going to talk a little bit more about this later. Can you just tell the audience what it is, please?
So in a nutshell, it is our chip breaking solution, and it's available on virtually every single Star, brand new Star that is, where materials where they're horrible to get to chip, so you get a lot of bird's nesting on the tools. It's a very simple interface on our FANUC control, and it will get the materials to chip.
Okay, we're going to be talking about that with Stephen a little bit more later. Right, ST38. Wow, right. This is about more complex machining of components.
Yeah, absolutely. So our triple turret sliding head lathe, so unique in the industry really. We do this 38 and we do a smaller version of 20 as well. You can use it because you've got so many positions on the turrets. You can load it up for loads of tools for really complex jobs, or I've got some customers that use it for loading up for multiple jobs, so reducing their setup times.
So, okay, if they're loading up for multiple jobs, can you just give me an essence of how that's going to work?
So because you've got so many tool positions, you can have tools specific for like each kind of job. Obviously, you can store a lot of programs into the machine memory. It'll be a case of changing like the collets or the guide bush. There's minimal kind of interaction with the machine to get the next job up and running.
I think we're going to talk a little bit more about that minimal interaction in just a few moments. Give you a heads up on this. This is brand new from J&S Engineering, and this is their parts handler. And so just give me a little bit of a brief over. I mean, it's quite simple. It does exactly what it shows, but why are you using them?
So this is great for and they don't want the part bruising. Right. So rather than them just dropping on top of each other, it comes off the conveyor and it'll slowly just accumulate in the middle. They can pick them out and they're not going to get marked.
Right.
Bashing into each other.
And bashing into each other. Right, which way do you want to go? Should we go in front of we're going to go in front of this machine, but you're not allowed to see it yet. Should we hide them from the SD? This is the UK launch, by the way. So, well, quickly, you're not allowed to see that machine. Let's talk about this one, the SR32. We will come back to that in a moment. SR32 J3 Type B. Why the long names?
Good question. Yeah, I'll come back to you on that one.
I think you said one of the most popular machines, or the most popular machine you sell.
At the moment, this is our biggest selling model. So really, the J3 it's version 3 of the S32J. So
it's the evolution.
Yeah, it's progressed over the years, and so this is the latest one, and customers love it. It's versatile enough to do pretty complex jobs, but not too complex to set in comparison to some of the other machines out there.
So would you suggest that this is a good machine if someone started in the world of sliding head to get to understand how it all works?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's why it's been such a big seller, because we got quite a few new users, and this would be a good starting machine, but just because of the size range of it can do, and also the complexity of parts it can do.
On my notes I've got here, simple to set, simultaneous, so you've got the two tools in cut, is that right?
Yeah, so you got tool on the main spindle, and the sub spindle works independently, so yeah, you can make parts really efficiently. The other thing to bear in mind is, again, like we mentioned on one of the other machines, is the amount of power. So this one, it's got 11 kilowatts on the main spindle, and that's a lot for a sliding head lathe. And even on the live tools, this is 3 kilowatts.
The lights have just gone out in that machine. Do you want to put 50p in the meter? I hope you heard that. Right, let's move on to the next machine as well. Okay, have we got new bar feeders as well? Is that right? I won't go into too much detail there, but okay. Well, let's show off this part. Okay, tell us.
It's a good one. So we're talking about B-axis now. This has all been machined in one hit on one of our B-axis machines. So yeah, that's quite a complex part.
Yes.
You wouldn't think that's come off a lathe.
No, you certainly wouldn't as well. And one hit, you just mentioned, this is the direction that you want to go in with Star, is that right?
Absolutely. You know, for customers to produce it in one hit, if you can minimise the amount of handling of that part, you're going to make more money out of it, basically.
Ultimately.
Yeah, that's
right. Okay, there are some more parts. I wanted to mention as well, angled holes. Have you got any to show off here? Is that?
I think you'll have angled features here. There will be a part out there with angled holes. I mean, that's a...
I mean, look at this.
What's happening?
Is it coming home?
Oh, I'd love to think so. We'll have to wait and see.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's something like to think that that's made on a sliding head machine. You know what? Someone came in earlier this morning who I've met interviewing on it. They have lots of mills, and they turned up this morning. They said, "I just don't know anything about sliding heads. I want to know more. I want to understand this world in a bit more detail." This is the perfect event to come to, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a great educational event. Come and have a look, have a learn, and just see what the machines can do, really.
And speak to Matt. Right, okay, so there's new bar feeds. I think we're going to be talking with Paul about those later, so we won't cover that now. But what I do want to cover is the SX38 Type B. He calls it the Beast.
Oh, I love this machine. I really do.
Okay, tell me why you love this machine.
It's so versatile. There's not much you can't do on one of these. Talk about power. This has got it in spades. It's sub spindle, same power as the main again, like the other machines. You've got the turret down there.
The turret at the bottom.
Chris, have a look inside. You've got at the top. There's a platen, but it's also got a B-axis up there, so you can do simultaneous milling. You can do balance turning. There's not much you can't do on this.
Is this the one that you'd say is if someone wants to be able to achieve pretty much everything that sliders can do? This is the machine.
I mean, this is like the top end of our range. This is the flagship model, effectively, along with the ST. But there's things I've seen made on these machines already. It's just been mind blowing.
And you mentioned the Renishaw probe as well. I don't know if you can see that in there.
There is one in there mounted on a turret. So we've got a good partnership with Renishaw. You can put it on most of the machines. To be fair, if you want to have a really stable process where you're chasing microns, really, you can have the machine probe and cycle, and it'll automatically update the offsets in the machine to get really consistent parts.
And you've actually got customers using this out there at the moment, and it saves them so much time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I guess essentially that's the human not handling the part and the one-hit machining that will help with it.
Yeah, and you're not having to stop the machine to tweak it because it's doing it automatically itself.
Now we've gone from the Beast and we've gone to something tiny like me. So we're basically gone from Paul to me.
There you go.
Right, okay. This one's tiny and it's famed for its tiny footprint. So talk to me about the SL10.
Yeah, lovely machine. Like you said, small footprint. It's only about 800 millimeters deep, so you can fit them in quite a lot in a small space, really. But what makes this machine quite special is it's a lot of tools in there for a small machine.
Right.
And it's really flexible because a lot of them can be interchanged with lots of different tool holders. So you can do complex work as well as the simple work.
Yeah.
And it's really fast. moving
really fast. Like me, again, really fast. And like this video. So electronics, what other industries?
Yeah, so watchmaking, electronics, anything where it's small diameter, whether it be big volume, small volume, it doesn't matter. The machine will make it.
Perfect, right. Last but by no means least, the one that we hid away from you, which is the SD26. Are you going to go backwards, Chris? Oh, we're challenging him. He's walking backwards now.
Trip over.
We don't want him to trip over. Oh, careful. I'm joking. Right. SD26. He's doing very well, so we are walking quite slowly. Tell me about this. It's the UK launch. It was launched at A&B as well, but in the UK, this is the launch. I think you're going to be talking to us a little bit more in depth about this on the chairs on the podcast, but wowzers, here we go.
So, brand new, fantastic. First time I've seen it in the UK. So this is the next generation machine from Star. There's some lovely features on here where they put if you come in here, Chris, have a look at the back. So we moved the back end tool post.
So can I just make sure that everyone knows there's a new setup here?
Yeah, completely different to the others where those tools normally would be right in front of you, but we put them in the back. But it also means that we've moved the spindles forward to make it easier to load all the other tools.
So when you're moving the spindle forward, these tools here, am I right in here? Yeah, so these tools here are easier to load. And then also round the back here, I don't know whether you can get there, is leaning in. So tell me about what's happening behind here.
Well, they'll see it better on the camera than from what we can here,
Yeah,
but
we
hope. But there's a lot more tools in there, power tools. I mean, this particular model, it's got 2 B-axis units. And the viewers will see there's a thread whirling unit in there, but you can have a driven tool B-axis in there as well.
So this is
the thread whirler.
And then, so instead of, but you're talking very modular. Yeah. You're going up a level in the amount of tools, the variety of the tools, the different angles of tools. Who is needing this and what in the market is driving this change?
Well, this is like what we've been talking about on the other machines. It's about trying to make everything in one hit. And there is more complex parts being made out there. Having this more modular setup, again, it's getting flexibility. The type of customer, again, it's going to be OEMs and subcontractors, anyone really.
Anyone at all. And there's 40 plus tools in here.
Oh, easily, yeah.
And why are people needing the 40 plus tools? Is that, again, something that's needed or is it market driven, or is it the fact that, let's just go for having 40 tools for the sake of it?
I think it'll be market driven. You'll probably have some industries where we'll need a lot of tools for certain jobs.
And what are those industries?
Well, I guess that's going to be, you name it, it's going to be out there, whether it be defense, electronics, so many different industries that are going to need it.
Brilliant. Okay, let's go into a little bit more detail later on about this, so you can you'll get all the notes out. We'll be going into mils, microns, and everything in there. But thank you so much for the tour, Matt, and enjoy the podcast later. Yeah. Hello everybody and welcome back to Star GB's open house event here in Derby. And Steve Totti's changed, he looks a little bit different now.
Slimmer? Talking about slimmer, one of our cameramen has just gone away and picked 3 slices of pizza and didn't bring any back for us.
3? Is he really?
3 slices.
That's it. We're here at Star's open.
Do you watch that, Matt?
I do, yeah, I love it.
I love a bit of I'm a celebrity, but don't ever make us eat anything to what they make those celebrities eat.
Yeah,
no
yeah.
way.
It's all the junk they chuck on top of them as well. You think to yourself, where does that come from? All that offal and meat and things
That's pretty
grim. Yeah. We'll have to do our own version one day.
Nice.
Great tour.
Yeah.
Great now. Before we do, we've got a couple of comments on the channel. Do you want to just mention?
I was just about to say that. We've got a couple of shout-outs, so thank you so much for writing in. So We've got Tungaloy, nice event coverage, well done MTDCNC, thank you for writing in. These messages, when you're writing in, send them in because they come straight through, technically, to my phone here. So I can get the questions and then we can ask the professionals, the experts, all of your questions. So I have got one question. I might delay that, or shall we ask it straight away? Yeah. Okay, so from Nick Groom, he's written it on YouTube. Thank you for writing this in, Nick. Energy is a big concern for the industry, which we are very certain of because obviously we know in our homes, but also we did an open house event and it was like the hot topic of the event of energy and efficiency. So what are Star doing to improve their machines, please?
Okay, well, yeah, I totally understand people's concerns on the energy. It's going to hurt, but where we are at the moment, Star, where we've probably got the lowest power consumption in the industry for side head lathes. That's a big benefit to anyone straight away. Now, obviously, we're continually developing the product, so hopefully we'd like to get it more efficient as time goes on with our partners with Planet. Other things like on the high pressure pumps and even in the mist extraction, we're using variable frequency drives, which use a lot less power as well. So it's not just the machine, it's everything that goes with it as well.
Yeah.
Is it something you're facing as a area sales manager, business unit manager of your territory, that companies are coming to you and saying it's something that I really do need to take into account?
Truth be told, it's never been really something that people have really talked about until now. I tend to raise it as a thing, it's a selling point, because of the lower power consumption of our machines. That's a plus point for them. They're not spending as much on their bills.
Is there a way of calculating it at all?
Yes, there is. Yeah.
Right, okay. Is it something you can share, or is it something that's a bit too more in depth?
It's a bit more in depth. Yeah, it's not something I can just talk about.
Okay, well let's get. It's a good comment by Nick, and I do think it is something that everybody is talking about. And if you say your machines are as efficient, or if not more efficient than others, then that's a good reason for people to contact you in the event that they're looking to save costs on their energy bills. Matt, this SD26, quick look at it there with Lyndsey, great tour. Who's it primarily for then? I mean, we say we've got a lot more tools. You've got 2 B-axis, which I'll ask you about in a bit more detail. Who's your market?
Well, this is it, because we're finding across the board, it's not just subcontractors, but it's OEMs. They're looking to do more complex work. And so this particular model here, the Type S, this is the top level one. And so, like I said, it's got 2 B-axis units. This particular variant you see here has got a twin thread whirling unit, so it's great for like the medical bone screw industry.
And we have actually got some footage that we've got that we may be able to get put over the screen. If you are watching this, of course, a lot of people will be listening because it's a podcast. But if you are watching on YouTube, you'll be able to hopefully see some of the machine in action. But carry on, Matt. Yeah, the 2B axis, and who's it for?
Yeah, it's not much you can't thread it really with that amount of complexity. I mean, there's other variants of it as well. If you don't need the extra B axis, but it allows you to have other tool holders in there, so it gives you more flexibility. Especially with the bar size as well, it covers quite a decent sized range of work then.
I mean, did you have a 26 before? Has this replaced something,
No.
or is it just a brand new machine that fits nicely in between your 20 and your 32? Is that the angle?
Yes, new niche model really, so it's never had a 26 before. It's either been 20 or 32.
Okay, the 2B axis, how and why are you going to use those? Where does 2B axis come in?
Right, so obviously the secondary B axis is if you really are chasing like some really complex work, or in this particular instance, the secondary B axis has been set up with a thread, so that means that the customers can do 2 different threads on there. You can see it and control the angle on there a lot better as well.
And this is one, I don't know whether we can see the part behind us there, and again, if you're listening, you need to go onto YouTube to watch. It's like a bone screw or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that a real perfect illustration of showing off the flexibility of the machine and the what you can achieve?
Yeah, it's a good example of what it can do, absolutely. We're seeing like the more complex jobs out there, so if you can complete a job in one hit, that's going to be a huge bonus to any customer. And for some customers, you could potentially load it up for multiple jobs.
Yeah, because you also have with this, the plattens are in slightly a different place. Sometimes the plattens at the front of the machine, but here it's just at the back. What's the idea behind that?
It's more ergonomics. So you're bringing both the spindles right to the front, so a lot easier to load your collets and your guide bush as well, and to set the tools on the main platen. so it's still easy reach to get to the tools at the back. And it's quite unique on this particular model there. The tools are...
You can sit up a bit, Matt.
Basically got the extra wedge holders on the side, so it's 10 stations on the back on this machine.
Right, now is that a lot more stations than some of your other models, your 20 or your 32s?
Yeah, the normal, it'd be 8, would be the maximum, so now you've got 10.
Right, okay. What about things like the power of the machine and the capability in that area? And if you could nudge your chair up a little bit, Matt, you're sinking behind the mic there. We'd rather see your face than the microphone. Tell us about that, the improvements. Has it got the power? Has it got the weight? Has it got all those things that Star talk about on their other machines that give them the optimum in speed and surface finish? And
So this size machine is pretty powerful. So you've got a 7.5 kilowatt main spindle. Normally you'd see that on most other 32mm machines, not ours or even higher again. Even on the sub spindle, you're talking 5.5 kilowatts. So you've got a lot of power available there. In the live tools, there's 3 kilowatts available on the live tools on the main platen. So it's a lot of run.
Right, okay. So we boring you there while you disappeared, or what were you actually up to?
No, you weren't boring me. You mentioned the bone screw, so I've gone to find that, but I think someone's stolen it. So we're going to try and find one. But also there's a customer who needs to go but wants to come on air as well. So we're going to get him on next if that's all right. Okay. We like to be a bit ad hoc whilst we're on set as well. But we are trying to get that screw just to show off, if you are watching, what that screw looks like that's come off the SD26.
Also, if you've got any questions on the SD26, you may have seen a video. There is one on our channel that we did at A&B and also at IMTS. If you've got any further comments or questions, then please put them in the chat box, and if Matt can't get to them now, we will get back to you in due course. Also, Matt, things like part handling and stuff like that, if you're running unmanned and you've got a lot of tools and you've got all of the things in the machine that can make it appear to be complicated, although it's not, how do you get around successfully handling components in and out of the machine? What can you add to machines like this?
Oh, well, in terms of the accessories to when the part comes out of the machine?
Correct, yeah.
So there's a few options. So there's...
I think your chair is sinking as the podcast is going. You pump it up. You come back up so we can see your face as well. There we go.
Let's see how far I sink this time.
It's fine.
But yeah, it's...
Because part handling's a big part of any sliding head operation, isn't it? You know, or any unmanned running operation.
Yeah, and I think with the solutions that we got available, you've probably seen it in the video earlier when did the walk-arounds, especially for people who don't want their parts bruised, any kind of marking surface, a really aesthetic part. So there's good solutions available, and they can be retrofitted to the machine. You don't have to have it at the start, but it'd be great if they plan that far ahead of the machine's package.
Well, Lyndsey, you got...
No, absolutely. Just make sure when you're doing that, just talking to the microphone. We'll actually get maybe we can get Jason on the podcast to be talking about.
Yeah, because we've got JNS Engineering here. We've also got Solid Cam coming up. I'm also going to be talking to the guys from FMB very shortly. So lots to keep listening and watching for. Matt, simultaneous machining, balance turning and stuff like that, capable on this machine?
Not balance turning on this particular machine. So obviously one tool and cut on each spindle on this particular model. Okay,
but those two B axes as well. I noticed you've got two sets of tools almost at 90 degrees to each other on the back B axis. Is there not how does all that work, and is it not quite a tight area? What's that, are those in that position for?
I haven't actually looked at it in that much detail.
Okay, because you've got at the back on the black
on the back pattern. Okay, so cross-working.
Cross-work. So you can get on the face and also on the end of the part.
Yeah.
Which I suppose gives you total flexibility, which is, if you were to summarise what this SD26 does and who it can work for, what would you say in a 30 seconds? Because this is your swan song.
This is your speech.
It's the next generation
elevator pitch.
Great bar capacity, but the tooling options available to make it so flexible and versatile. I'm going to that again now. That's a thing. It just gives customers that much more options, not just for the parts they're making now, but to future-proof.
And if a 32 mil machine was a bit too big and a 20 was too small, is this the perfect?
It's somewhere in between. Absolutely, feels that little niche.
Yeah, so it could open up a brand new market opportunities.
I think it's quite interesting as well. We might have to get the next guest on if that's okay. We're just going with the flow. You've actually changed the configuration as well on this machine. I mean, not many people, you know, you do something well, you're going to continue that, but actually you've got the confidence to go, actually, let's go down this route now.
Yeah, something different. You know, we like to try new things, and this is a different layout again. And I think ergonomically, it's going to work really well for operators to load all the tools on the main platen, because there's so many more tools there.
Yes.
And even it's still an easy reach to get to the tools at the back as well.
Yeah. Okay, and by the way, I think we did cut off on LinkedIn, so welcome back everyone. We're live here at Star GB's open house event here in Derby. This is your chance to ask the experts, ask the questions to the team here, but we're also going to get customers on as well, and I think a lot of people are quite nervous coming on air, but I think this gentleman's going to come on next. So do you mind if we do? We may change the stool.
No, I think other people will be lighter than you, so they might be right. Matt, thank you very much for joining us on the SC26. This guy, or the other guys from Star GB, hopefully we've had to manage to get some cutting footage over the top so you can sort of see the capabilities of the machine. But it is here at their headquarters in Derby if you want to come and see it tomorrow as well, because this event's still on. Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you so much, Matt. We'll do a little swap seat as well. If you could grab another chair for us.
That's probably best. I don't think
because everyone's just getting shorter. Obviously, if you're listening, you wouldn't be able to see it, but if you are watching, you'll be able to see each guest sit in front of us and then get lower and lower and lower. Like Paul's just said, we will be doing a little bit more. Well, you're going to be doing a little bit more of a
Yeah, so I'm going to be talking shortly to the guys from FMB. They've developed a new bar feed which is unique, and it's going to be very interesting for manufacturers that are looking at long runs, unmanned running, which in the majority of these machines are, to get less wear on the machine, better tool life. They've developed a product in order to do that. We've also got the guys from J&S Engineering coming on that will talk to us about part handling.
Yes, and also Step Cycle Pro. We're going to be talking to, I think I don't know his job title, but from Star, and he's going to be discussing Step Cycle Pro and basically how good it is and how it's changed people's purchases and cycle times. Talking about that, we've got a new gentleman here, Phil, I believe.
Yes.
Is it? Yes. Phil, can you just introduce yourselves, Paul and Lyndsey, and there's your audience, but there's also people listening as well.
Right, okay, thank you. Phil Smith, I work at Wheel Part Limited, which is a subcontract engineering firm in St Helens, Merseyside.
So you want to get back home fairly early after your pizza to miss the traffic tonight?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea, yeah. It was a horrendous drive down, and the weather's not too bad at the moment, so yeah.
Yeah, make the most of it.
I've met Phil before on the golf course.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
I looked for quite a few of Paul's balls on the golf course, yeah.
I was just going to say, I know, Paul, you've got a bad
I blame that on the
reputation.
conditions, because it was a very wet day.
Oh,
it was a midsummer's day, but it was wet, it was cold. Yeah, and that was that's why I didn't play my normal standard of game.
You've got a very bad reputation on the golf course.
That was the last time I played.
I can relate to that, yeah. I've seen it firsthand.
Paul, have you seen Phil's picture on his visitor badge?
Oh, yes, this is the one Steve was telling us all about, yeah.
Why have you got a picture?
Yeah, what's the relevance?
It's the Sesame Street, isn't it?
It is, it's Bert from Sesame Street, but there's a guy called Nick Groom at Qualiturn who you'll know about. That's the picture that comes up when he rings me.
Brilliant. We like a good smile. We like to have a little bit of fun. Right, Phil, Star, what machines have you got and why are you here at the show today?
We've got 19 Star machines, ranging between SB, SR, SX. I don't think we've got any SVs left now, they're Weds. We're always looking for more stuff. We've got 3 or 4 on order now. We wanted to see the SD.
Yeah.
I saw it a little bit in Chicago at IMTS, but I'm down here with my dad today to have a closer look at that. And obviously the ancillary stuff that's here as well is always of interest.
What's your attraction to the SD26? We've heard it from Matt about what the machine's capable of, but from an actual machining business, where...
Capability, Paul. When you look at the B-axis system that it's got, there's 2 B-axis on there, which is fantastic for us, for intricate parts that need angled holes, that need milling round corners, whatever it needs. That is as capable as I've seen from any Star.
Is there parts that you're making at the moment in a different way than you would if you purchased this? Could you do them quicker on the SC26 as a result?
We probably would do them quicker, yeah, because I think the parts I'm thinking about at the moment, we're using an SR20R4, which, although it's a fantastic machine, it's getting a little bit old now. This is new technology, a little bit quicker, And also, what's important for us is Step Cycle Pro.
That's what I was going to lead on to.
Yeah.
Before we lead on to that, I just want to make sure we have got some machining footage of the ST26, and I just want to make sure that we can try and get that on the screen. So if you are watching on YouTube, in fact, if you're listening to this, then you can go to YouTube and watch this, or you go to the MTDCNC website where you'll be able to actually see us in discussion and also see the machine we're talking about.
Also, hello to Ranveer Singh. You've asked price. I'm assuming that you asked that when Matt was on air. The best thing to do regarding price point is contact the team here at Star GB, because it's kind of it's not just standard, is it? It's not one price suits all or anything like that. So just speak to the team members. Thank you for asking the question, Nick Room. Not a problem. If you've got any more, keep them coming in. Thank you for watching, everyone. And if you've got questions, keep them coming in. So, Step Cycle Pro. What, in your view, what does it do for you, and what is it?
Step Cycle Pro is something that we've been looking for quite a while. Obviously, when you're machining brass, you don't have any issues with swarf, anything like that. It chips dead easy. Swarf control, when you're in mass production, is a major element. So the materials you have difficulty with, coppers, steels, aluminiums, with the stringy swarf, Step Cycle Pro helps to eliminate that and break it down into small chips. So the experience we've had so far, we were making a component out of C101 copper on our normal 32mm machines, having all sorts of trouble with swarf control. We put it on the new 32J3 that we recently bought, Step Cycle Pro on there, and straight away on the turning, particularly on the turning, it's massive difference with small chips, and we've actually saved probably nearly 50% of the cycle time in saving, which we weren't expecting. We were quite happy with the swarf control, but to get sort of a 50% improvement in cycle time was just an extra bonus.
I mean, how does it do it? We'll find out.
Well, we're going to find out, because we've got Stephen coming on,
Yes.
who's one of the app guys from Star, probably in about 10 or 15 minutes, so he'll be able to talk in detail. You can see a machine in the background here. This is Step Cycle. Well, I'm not exactly quite sure what the footage is you can see here, but you can see a sliding head lathe in action here. But this is the ST26, I'm told. So for you, it's massive, isn't it? I mean, because it's not just the fact you're reducing those cycle times. You're also not having to worry about, having people there to get into the machine, to remove some of this swarf, to stop and start. And
that's the biggest issue for us. On difficult materials, if you can break the chips down, one, you're managing what's falling into your tank better, but two, it's not getting tangled around the tools. You don't have problems where coolant can't get where it needs to be. It's a big issue. So we've tried before with HFT with Star. We had some success with that, but the Step Cycle Pro just blows that out the water.
Yeah. We've talked earlier about how these machines are now really adaptable, and you can look at them in so many different ways. Have you got experience of that as well at your company, where you look at parts that you might have made on other styles of...
Mentioning power. We want to improve power constantly. What does that do for you? Why increasing that power? What's it going to do?
Increasing the power gives us capability to take, heavier cuts.
Yeah.
Without losing anything like surface finish. More power is always better in anything.
Yeah.
But it does enable you to sort of improve. It will quicken it up. Yeah. I mean, especially with sliding heads, certainly there's only so much you can do in cut.
Yeah.
You're restricted sometimes with what the tip will allow you, what the machine will allow you regarding what power you can get there. They do a lot of improvements on non-cutting time, which is fantastic for us. But more power is definitely important for improving the cutting time.
And what machines have you got on order, or are you not allowed to tell us?
No, I can tell you. We've got two SR20 J2s. We've got a 32 J3, all due sort of, well, they should have been due now, but we haven't got a factory to put them in at the moment.
Oh.
But
that's for another
conversation, yeah. But come the middle of next year, we'll be taking delivery of some more.
So I was just going to say, but coming up, I'm just going to be looking at the FMB bar feeds in a minute, and a new innovation from them. That's coming up literally in a minute or so's time. But before we do, Phil, I just wanted to, how is business for you at the moment? You've obviously invested. Time's pretty good by the sounds of it.
It's good, yeah. I mean, we've been very busy since COVID. So COVID was good for us. We couldn't shut because of the industries we supply, and it just ramped up, particularly after the first lockdown. We just sort of went on an upturn, and we're still there. Lead times are out to sort of 8 to 10 weeks, which for us it's bad.
That's why I was going to ask you, why have you then gone to order 3 more machines? Where's the problem in your not problem, but what solution are you trying to correct and improve on with those machines?
Capacity.
Is it the fact that your capacity, so is it your lead times are too long?
Definitely, it scares people away.
Oh really?
You know, when you get to 8 to 10 weeks, some people could think, well, I can maybe go to the Far East and get it in a couple of weeks after that, maybe. But so long lead times for us are a nightmare.
Yeah.
We're quite happy at 4 to 6. Brilliant. We're not going to lose much then.
And are these machines going to bring you back to that?
They'll definitely improve our capacity. We've ordered 3 sliders. We've ordered 1 fixed head, and that's just the start of it. We're going to have capacity for more, but we can't do everything at once.
No, of course. You can't, can you?
Great stuff. Okay.
So, and Paul would love to do that. He'd love to eat a pizza and be on the podcast, wouldn't you?
Eat pizza on the podcast?
Yeah, doing everything at once.
Yeah, absolutely. Multitasking. You're probably going to eat pizza now while I go and talk
I absolutely
to Roland
am.
Goebel from FMB. Before we do it, just a big thank you. What
I
you got
love
there,
that.
Phil?
Can I just say, Nick Groom, who's actually written to me.
Yeah, it's been going off in my pocket while I've been talking to him. So he is watching.
There you go, he's watching, so he's saying hello. Do you want to say any words to him? Don't swear.
I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
We are streaming this afternoon here live from Star GB. Lots of technology on show, and the event is also on tomorrow. And if you're listening to this on catch up, of course you can watch it on YouTube as well, so you can see some of the technology. Okay, is it my time to go and see
it's
the
your
man
time
on the
to go
FMB
over there.
bar?
Thank you so much, Phil. Really
much.
appreciate your time. I'm hoping that we'll get to come and meet you again soon when those stars are installed. You're going to go talk about
I might see you on the golf course next time round, maybe.
Not if I see you first.
Thank you very much,
Brilliant.
Phil.
Thank you, gents. Right, okay, let's head over to Paul now, who's going to be talking about the latest bar feed. He's just getting the guest over. Of course, these things are always live. We've just got to wait a few moments. And I'm going to go eat some pizza, but we'll come back after this because we're going to be talking about that Step Cycle Pro. I'll see you in just a few.
Okay, so slightly better about the machine. You'll feed the machine. Really important part and an integral part, and I'm going to talk to Roland here. Roland's from FMB. Now, predominantly Star machines come with the FMB bar feeds. Roland, welcome to this live stream. You've got some new innovations that you're showing here, or a new innovation. Can you maybe, and in fact, if I go this side, it might be easier for you to describe. Roland, can you tell us about what the new product from FMB?
Yeah. So, I'm standing here in front of our new loading magazine. It's called Turbo RS 4-45. Means it's a loading magazine for slide and headstock machines and covers diameters from 4 to 45 millimeters. This loading magazine we showed the first time. It's a prototype on the AMB show in September in Germany, in Stuttgart, and has a complete new technology. We call this RS technology. So, has to open again.
You can open it again. Now, we're going to find out what the RS technology is, but then, of course, find out the problems, most importantly, that it solves. So describe what it is.
Yes. In the past, before we designed the RS technology, it was necessary to cover the area between the loading magazine and the spindle from the lathe with a telescopic nose in order to cover the running or the rotating bar. So this telescopic nose, depending on the stroke of the lathe, is longer or shorter, but the problem was without oil we had a lot of vibrations and noises in this un-oil fluid system.
Okay, so to describe previously, or you had oil surrounding the bar. So
exactly, in the loading magazine, not in this telescopic nose. In order to solve these problems, our designer thought about a new system called RS technology. And with the new RS technology, we connect our guide channel with the new movable guiding module directly on the lathe of the spindle from the slide and headstock machine. That means the new movable guiding module is also like our guide channel that oil fluided. Has a steady rest in front.
If we move back a bit, Roland, then we can get the camera in there to see it.
Has a steady rest in the front, very close as possible on the sliding headstock. In the past it was on the end of the loading magazine, and now with the new system we have a continuous flushed oil system up to the spindle of the lathe. That, yes?
Okay, so what I'm gathering from this is previously the bar feed, these were the bars had oil surrounding them,
yes,
which stopped any vibration, which helped with the movement of the bar. You didn't have that from here onto the headstock.
Exactly. And
but now we have.
And now with the new movable guiding module, we called it guiding module, we had a complete oil fluid system. The oil is in this module and goes back in our loading magazine. And that means we had now a complete oil fluid system up to the spindle from the lathe. And this gives us a guarantee for the best guidance for our material bar.
Okay, so what problems would that solve then? What's the issues, or why is it better to do this?
Yeah, the problem was for our customers. Very often with this telescopic noses or the tubes, we cannot run this high RPMs what the machine can do. Means if they cannot run the high RPMs, he had longer circle times, not maybe the quality he need for his parts, what he has to produce on the machine or to build on the machine. And with a new complete system up to the spindle, oil up to the spindle, we had the same advantage like in our loading magazine. That was never a problem in the loading magazine, it was only the problem between the distance from the loading magazine to the spindle.
So any of those restrictions that you would have had where you may have had to slow things down have now gone now. This is a much better system, isn't it?
Again,
it's okay. This is a much better system. Now, does it apply to bar feeds other than the 445?
Then we had another big advantage, especially our dealers like Steve here in the UK. A lot of the machines can work in two modes, the Swiss mode and the chugger mode. If the machines work in the chugger mode, it was necessary to bring the magazine closer to the machine in order to work in this chugger mode. To do this, it was necessary to install between the loading magazine and the stands a shifting device in order to bring the magazine forward. By the new system, our guide channel system is anytime on the right place, directly on the spindle, and that makes not longer necessary to install a shifting device on a loading magazine.
Okay, literally. In a minute, we're going to be going back to Lyndsey, and we're going to be joined by Steve. So we need to make sure those guys are ready for us. But before we do that, is this just available on this model, or is there a smaller?
We start 1 year ago with the type 3-38. Of course, by the new prototype, it was for sure we have to do this in the new one also. And now we continue this process up to the smallest magazine also. Means, with other words, at the moment is from FMB for all our loading magazines up to 45 millimeter, the RS technology available.
So this is all about productivity gains. Just coming up after this, we're going to be talking about Step Cycle Pro with Lyndsey and with Stephen. This is going to be a big game changer for the market, do you think? And is this patented to technology from FMB?
Yes, we had a patent on this one, and especially when we see as FMB against our competitors, we had, of course, big advantage. Our customer told us he tested the magazine, the prototype also. The lifetime for the tools, for example, was also much longer, and he has both magazines beside, the standard one and the RS technology, and he told us, we build the magazines, we don't work with them, but he told us the lifetime from the tools are also only advantage.
It's good to hear. You enjoy being in the UK?
Yes, of course, yes. Maybe it's my last visit here. Next year I will go to retirement, but I enjoy it.
And Germany going to win the World Cup or England?
For England. No idea. I'm not so good in football, so no. Okay. I no idea.
Okay.
I hope the final is Germany against England. It would be
You
fine.
hope so. Well,
Yes,
let's
it
see.
would be fine.
Thank you very much, Roland. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Patented technology and new from FMB and available on Star sliding head lathes. That's it from me here. And Roland, I'm going to go back and join Lyndsey, and we're going to be talking about Step Cycle Pro.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be talking.
Working. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. Oh, goodness. We're going to be talking about Step Cycle Pro in just a few moments' time. But first, because Lewis was a little bit nervous.
Oh, you just put me on the spot now.
A little bit fine. We're going to be talking about Lewis's business. So, Lewis, right, tell me a little bit more about your relationship. Well, the company, but tell me more about your relationship with Star.
So company TD Electronics, we manufacture electrical connectors and systems for predominantly the military and rail industry. So we manufacture from raw materials all the way through to either connectors on their own or electrical systems. My relationship with Star, so I introduced to Matt December last year actually. And we haven't got a Star machine yet, but we've just bought one and we're waiting for one to be delivered in January.
So you're telling me that you've bought one Star machine,
Yep.
it's not yet been delivered.
Yep.
However, you've now got 2 more on order.
No, we haven't got 2 more. We're looking.
You're looking at 2
so
more.
potentially the SX38 and the SL10 we're looking at.
So why have you had that confidence to go forward? What have they done?
To be honest, it's from the start really. The relationship with Matt to start with, we've had a good relationship. He's always, at the end of the phone, he's constantly been in touch, making sure all my inquiries are answered. When I've spoke to the applications team, they've done some cycle time analysis for me, and then they organised a visit for myself to come up. And they actually run some of our parts on the machine and proved it out.
Oh, okay.
And the cycle time when they proved it out was actually better than what they predicted up front. So
really?
give us a lot of confidence going forward that
Would you generally tend to buy machines based on like a turnkey project, or Star being involved in actually showing you that they can do what they say?
Yeah, so that's quite a difficult question really at the moment, because our machine shop hasn't really had any investment for the last 15 years. So this is the first experience we've had of buying a new machine.
Oh, really?
So it's all new to myself, but it's all to do with the interaction I've had with Star themselves, with how they've dealt. So we wanted to know if the machine was capable to start off with. So we come up and had a look at what the machine was actually capable. They demonstrated different parts. And then obviously we sent them some of our components where they've done some cycle time studies.
And do you think, I suppose the point I'm trying to get to is it half about the machine and half about the company, and the fact that those two are well married gives you... Certainly when you're new into something.
Yeah, for myself, I think there's a bit of both, because I deal with, so I do production engineering and the maintenance side of it. So currently we've probably got around sort of 8 different machines in our companies, and it's quite difficult to find the right contact for the maintenance side of it, the application side of it. So Star sort of seem to have the complete package. So it's the interaction and the support more than anything that was a main driver.
It's almost like you want that relationship with them,
Yeah.
because you're making such an investment. You need to feel confident in them before
exactly,
you make
yeah.
that. Which is I can understand
Yeah,
that.
because it was even down to the fact when I come up to visit, so Steve, the MD, spent about 2-3 hours of me taking me around the shop. So to have that relationship with the MD in a big company like Star was a big driving factor for myself.
Yeah.
What challenges are you facing as a company at the moment?
It's the sheer sales demand and the age of the machines. Obviously, like I said, it's a lot of them are 15 to 20 years old. So the cycle times are pretty much doubled on them, and then the company now, the sales demand is increasing capacity massively. So we've taken on a lot of people in the last 2 months. So we need more efficient, and the spend on the maintenance side of it now is starting to increase. So it's really time to.
They're good challenges. They're good challenges.
Yeah, it's good challenges to have. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
what have you seen here today that you like?
Well, we predominantly have like the SX38, the Type B, because that could replace some of our larger manufacturing components, and the SL10, which is a support for the SR20 that we already bought.
They call the SX38 a bit of a beast because it can be capable of pretty much. It's one of their most high-spec machines.
Yeah. So it's the amount of tools they can have in there. So we got twin spindle, twin turret machines there that's capable of doing 1 5/8, but it hasn't got the power and the spindle speed and the amount of tool holders. So if we do, because our batch sizes can vary from 25 up to about 500. So obviously we could be changing over 5-6 times a week, whereas the SX38 it might only be a drill change rather than changing sort of 12 tools.
Yes.
So that's a big driving factor in why we're looking at that
You've got to
machine.
get rid of all that downtime, get rid of all those headaches and those issues. Absolutely. Efficiency in every angle. Interesting, you mentioned two machines. You mentioned the SL10, which is one of the smallest machines, up to the SX, which is the biggest. So that just shows you've got a demand.
The breadth.
So we make, like I said, we make electrical connectors, so we can machine up to 4.5-inch billet is the biggest size of the machine at the moment, but obviously that can be populated with loads of little electrical contacts, which is down to an 1/8 or 2 mil diameter. So that's where we got a wide variation in the machines. So that's why we're looking at sort of at the full range of Star, and that's pretty much why we're looking at
Lewis, where are you based?
Abercynon,
Where?
which is in South Wales by
South
Cardiff.
Wales, right, there we go. Maybe we'll be visiting you then when you've got your Star going then, hopefully.
Only in the summer.
Only in the summer, yeah.
Mind you, you don't get summers, do you, in Wales?
No, not at the moment. We're lucky to have a couple of days.
It's a bit depressing, the weather at the moment. Anyway, we're not here to talk about the weather, but Lewis, thank you so much, and thank you for coming on, because, I know you're a bit nervous. You can relax now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Great to hear from end users.
So
Great to hear from end users, especially ones that are just adopting the technology. So it's not just about their existing customers, it's about them selling into new markets. People are, new opportunities, people establishing new needs. Next up, this gentleman.
We've got Stephen. We've organised this very smoothly. Thank you so much.
If you're listening to, sorry, Lyndsey, cutting across you, but if you are listening to this and you want to watch this podcast, you can, of course, on YouTube or on the MTDCNC website or on the MTDCNC app. And we are having comments and questions come in. Have we any new ones, Lyndsey, to add?
Also, if you've got any questions or anything, please message them in. I've got SLAC Precision Engineering represent. Yes, represent. So a big shout out. If you've got any questions, then send them in. They come straight through to my phone here. So I'll get those questions asked to the experts. Right then, Stephen.
Hi.
It is time for us to quiz you.
Can you just get a little bit closer to the mic, Stephen, if you don't mind? I know it's
There we go.
I'll move that to you. Stephen, just introduce yourself quickly.
Okay, I'm Stephen Brett. I'm an applications engineer for Star GB Micronics.
Okay.
And you're here really to talk about Step Cycle Pro.
Yes, I am.
So can you just give the audience, for someone who doesn't know what it is at all, not too technical, because we know how technical you can go, but just a little bit of an overview as to what it is.
Okay, so Step Cycle Pro is Star's latest chip breaking technology. So what it's designed to do, it oscillates the axis in synchronization with the spindle rotation. So in a more simple way, both the spindle and the feed rate are fluctuating, and it forces material that is notoriously hard to chip, such as 316, stainless, some plastics like PEEK, and
we have heard from Phil from Will Park. He was on the podcast earlier, who's got experience of this. But for those that may have missed his comments, it might be good for you to tell us who it works for and why it's good.
Well, I think one of the main problems in machining is chip management, swarf management. It causes you to have downtime, kind of creates a negative aspect in running lights out. This will give companies more confidence because of the fact that the material now is going to chip. So an example would be a company that I've implemented it in, whereby the three components they would have machined in outside of their own company due to the problems they were having. Since their new machine's been implemented and installed, all 3 of them parts have been brought back in-house.
Brilliant.
And now they have full control over the whole assembly of their product. And these 3 parts were critical products, critical components for that assembly. And now they have full control. So, I mean, that says it all.
That's a very, very good example. I mean, that is a very good. And how many of those would there be out there? I mean, is this something that you can fit to all of your Star machines, or do they have to be of a certain age?
New machines, really. So all new machines, because it's a mixture of hardware and software. So the new machines all have it, and you can then unlock it or leave it unlocked. So you can have it if you want it, because you don't want to be paying for something that you're never going to use. Maybe you're only ever machining brass. For that instance, you might not need the software. So the way it works is if you need it, it's there.
Okay, yes.
I've got a question. How is it that when we've had a customer just before yourself say that they have saved their cycle time, improved their cycle time by 50%? So how is that happening? How is that working? How are they able to time save?
Well, I think when you're having issues with swarf,
Yes.
you have to maybe back off a little bit in order to have not the downtime.
Yes.
So with the Step Cycle Pro, you can essentially totally eradicate that issue. There's no bunching up of the swarf, no birds nesting, and therefore you can you overall increase your cycle time.
So it's really basically, I know you said confidence, but so it's not birds nesting. You don't have the operator having to reach into the machine or anything like. Is that where people's downtime was coming from? Is that what was?
Yeah, that's a huge problem. If that's what's happening in your daily production, you're going to lose a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've tested it extensively on site.
Yeah.
As an application engineer, it's you want to know it's working.
Yes.
Because you're going to be out on site in front of customers, and we did extensive testing here at Star GB's where we are now.
Yeah.
Across a multiple range of materials. Like I said, 316 stainless, notoriously hard to chip. A lot of plastics and polymers.
I've got another question for you, because I know that we've got another customer, not a customer, a partner coming on. What has been a question that's been asked to you from people walking around today multiple times? Okay,
the main question is, will it increase cycle time? And the answer is no. It will if by implementing Step Cycle Pro you can keep your cycle times, you won't add anything onto it.
You're not going to add anything. So that's what people are asking, and you're like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I often think, I know that's a question that will come up a lot, but sometimes is that important or is that not important? I mean, if you can just keep running the machine, if you could only run the machine for a 7-hour day because you needed an operator to get in and take swarf out, but now you can run it 24, albeit the part time is 10% longer. There's no loss there.
No, there's no loss there, but now we've got the best of both worlds. So we're increasing on a situation that you've explained, which is a good one. We're now increasing on that. So you're getting no downtime and faster parts, bigger margin, more profit.
Just a question that's come through. Is there a dealership in India for Star TV? I don't know if you've got the answer to that.
I don't know.
I did say I won't ask you anything you don't know.
Let me give them a call.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Right, we'll find out for you, I guess. If you could find that out, that would be great.
Stephen, thank you very much. Good explanation. Really important subject. Really important subject.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. Thank you everyone as well for your messages. Write it in. Hopefully we'll get your answers to that. If you've got any questions, they literally come through to our phones. If you've got any questions to ask the experts, then please do. We are welcome live at Star GB's open house event here in Derby, and I have another gentleman sitting.
Can we just get the mic a little bit closer? Even move your chair a little bit further forward, and then I know it's a juggling act, this one.
Right, Jason, could you introduce yourself, the company you're from?
I'm Jason from J&S Engineering.
Right.
And if you could try and keep into the mic, Jason, that would help.
Okay, yep.
Right then, Jason, you're a partner here essentially to Star. So can you give us a little bit of an overview of what you provide? Because straight away, if you'd have watched the walk around before, you'd have seen it. However, on what machine is it? Just around the first machine.
Yeah, the
that's
first
on?
machine round is an SR. Is it 32 or 38?
Is it the 32?
It's a 38.
Or 38? We'll remember. I'll find out. But you've got one of your parts handling
Yes.
piece of equipment on it.
Yeah,
so,
that's the disc parts handler. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about this.
Into the mic if you could, Jason, just so we can
Sorry.
make sure we got
Sorry.
that's right.
It stores parts you can run overnight. Basically, you can run unmanned. Has an oil drain back feature that can put the oil straight back into the machine. And it stores lots of parts for running overnight, and it safely stores them so it doesn't mark the parts.
So your parts will come off of the machine, and it's almost like a circular bed,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the parts will sit onto it. Does that rotate?
The disc rotates and the parts end up in the middle, so you can then have a look at each part. The further away they are from the middle, that will be the last parts that have come off the machine, so you can check the parts.
Okay, that from one to the last part.
Yeah.
And you're talking about overnight running, so basically very little human intervention.
Exactly right, yeah. Coming
then-
in the morning, hopefully the disc is full of parts.
Absolutely, it will be. There is confidence. And you've got another one here. So that's a circular disc, just to give you some visualization of it. But there's actually like a rectangular one now as well. So I've not.
Yeah, that's a space-saving version of the disc, so it's thinner. The parts drop onto the belt, and then they're conveyed to the end of the belt, and they all stored at the end of the belt, allowing exactly the same features, but it's space-saving as well.
And to get the oil off of the component, the oil will come off, and then you've got a tube that sends the oil back
Into the machine, yes.
And what's that going to do? Why have you put that on there?
Because else the build-up of oil from the oil coming off the parts will then flood into the system and it'll overflow. So we put a drain back, so the oil then goes straight back to the machine.
Right. Okay.
Would your products, you're here at Star GB's open house, but I'm assuming any machine tool supplier, any machine can benefit from this type of solution that you're offering
definitely,
here,
yeah.
Jason.
We put them onto a lot of different types of machines.
And if I could just get you, I know it's
Sorry.
a pain, but into the mic. So with companies looking to adopt more lights out solutions and to reduce operators being involved and to keep these spindles going, is your business growing?
Is it, sorry?
Is it growing?
Yes, my business is growing a lot, yeah. We've got a full order book at the moment. We're building more batches of parts handlers, so we're trying to keep up with production at the moment. So yeah, it's growing a lot.
And are you making all of what you do here in the UK?
Yeah, it's made in conjunction with Quinton Major over in Northampton, so they make all our parts handlers, all our products.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so it was on the ST38. I promised I'd remember that.
Yeah.
Also, another one of your machines as well. Is it the oil sump as well that you're
The centrifuge.
the centrifuge?
Yeah, that's for spinning. We do a small one for spinning parts to get the oil off the parts, and
Yes.
we also do a larger one for spinning the swarf itself. So we can reclaim 99% of the oil back from the swarf using our centrifuges.
No, so this is so important because when you're coming to an event like this, it's not just about Star, but it's about their partners as well, so it's a full solution. That's what we kind of really want to say. And also this event is on tomorrow as well, so if you want to come down, meet Jason, the team, you can do so as well.
Clear to me that you come here, you see the machines, but you see all the associated part handling, automation, feeding,
Software.
inspecting, cleaning, software. We'll have Solid Cam that's going to come on here in a few minutes as well. But thank you very much, Jason. I think we've got another gentleman behind that wants to join us.
It's a bit like a conveyor belt.
It
It's
is
a bit
like a
like your
conveyor
parts
belt.
handling machines. We're all there. Keep going. Thank you so much, Jason. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Does this gentleman want to join us? Do you want to join us?
How are we doing?
If you'd just like to take a seat and then just speak very, very closely to the microphone. We've never met you before. So where are you from?
I'm from Wexford in Ireland.
I could tell that straight away when you walked over. So
From where?
Wexford in Ireland.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
can you introduce yourself then?
Yeah, I'm Kevin Smith. I run a small company, Thorntech Engineering in Wexford. We've been there for 23 years.
Right.
We run a range of Doosan, Stars, fully automated. Everything is automated with driven tools, bar feeds, and the place basically runs 24 hours by itself.
Okay, if you can just speak as loud as you can into the
Yeah,
microphones, please. So how many stars have you got then?
There's 2 Stars,
2 star machines. What models?
SR38, both.
Both of them SL38.
SR38.
Sorry, SR.
Yeah.
So why did you go for these?
Well, I first started using stars up in Glasgow in 1988. It was the old RNCs, VNCs, you know. And I set up my own company 23 years ago. I worked for 10 years in Glasgow. And I ran various stars over there. When I came back over, I didn't have a customer base that needed sliding head technology. But then we got into more smaller parts, and eventually I started to realise the bigger size stars were possibly a way to go. I bought the first star 2 years ago, and at that stage we had a 3-month backlog on orders. And it was growing.
Sorry, say that again. You had
we had a 3-month backlog with orders. We just couldn't get the work out the place quick enough, and we didn't have the space to buy more Doosands or what we had at the time. We put in the star thinking it might help the problem. Within about 4 weeks we were looking for work. The backlog was gone. The star was eating the work, doing it half the time as the machines we had, and it was just a better fit for the type of components we had.
Wow.
Now, since I left Scotland in 1997 after being there 10 years, and we've had Citizens, we've had other makes of machines. I came back to Star because I realised the Star is a machine, it seems to have more weight in it.
Okay.
It seems to do the jobs with less effort, and the people in Star offer support that I just have never seen anywhere else.
You know what's interesting? We've already had someone say about the people and the weight of these machines have been two of the most impressive things.
The machines are just solid. I mean, we're using milling cutters on jobs that we shouldn't be able to mill in such a light machine. We don't hear the tool.
Really?
You know, it's...
So you can vouch for the fact that although some people may have said historically that these machines are just turning machines for light milling,
well,
they're not.
I've got bigger machines with twice the kilowatt power in the driven tools, and they struggle.
Really?
It seems to be the way the stars are geared, or how closely they're driven, or whatever way they're engineered. The machine it needs less effort.
Yeah.
To do jobs that you don't expect it to do.
That's really good, because we hear it a lot from Star employees, but hearing it from people that are using it.
I knew the people that were here before Steve Totty was here, and they sell machines. They will always tell you they have the best machine. I mean, okay, we don't want to mention any other brands, but they'll all tell you they have the best machine. The only true recommendation you get from a machine is the guy that's bought them, or the guy that's bought another one and another one. Now, I know if you go to a sliding head user, if his first machine is a Star, he'll always buy Star. If it's a Tornus, he'll always buy Tornus. They tend to stay with what they're comfortable with. You very rarely walk into a sliding head shop and find 2 of these, 3 of them, 1 of them, and there's a mix of machines. It's not like a fixed head shop. But I started out learning on stars, and they were the simpler, older, less capable stars. And I mean, I ran multi-turret, I ran single cam, you know, basically CNC cams, if you like, the old RNCs and stuff like that. But I went away, tried other machines, I came back, and I'd actually forgotten how good they were.
Yeah. The fascinating thing about the Irish market, I found out, I was over in Shannon the other week, and they reckon something like 70% of the world's consumption of knee joints, are made within like a 30-mile radius of that area. Well, the medical sector's huge, isn't it?
When the COVID pandemic started and everyone started going mad buying ventilators, I was one of the people that, it was only then that I found out Ireland had already always made 90% of the world's ventilators. We just did.
Yeah.
And then it became a popular product. Everybody was looking for them, and then it became news that that's where you buy them. Yeah. Now, they're made everywhere now because of the demand. But the medical industry in Ireland is huge. The aviation industry has grown, and most of my work is in the hydraulics industry.
Yeah.
We make simple components, but we make a hell of a lot. I mean, we're a small shop. We make 750,000 parts a year.
Wow.
We have zero rejects for at least the last 2 years. We don't get parts back. We all make mistakes. We all make bad parts. But the secret is you don't sell bad parts.
Yeah.
They don't go out your door. The customer gets what he paid for. Everybody's happy. Everybody moves on. But I find with stars, at the moment I have a Star running there. It's going to run for the next 2.5 days. because the component is small enough that the bar feed can handle 2.5 days. It's going to run 3,000 parts while I'm over here.
He's earning money while he's sitting here.
There's nobody there. The lights are out. The place is dark. The other machines are off.
Yeah.
Because they, with the energy of leaving them on and the fact that they're going to spend 2 days in the dark just humming away doing nothing, it's not cost effective. The Star will basically, it'll finish just before I get home in 2 days' time.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
That is fantastic. Now we've got one more person that's been that needs to come on this, and it's been a really I'd love to conclude your point there, because unmanned machining, making money while you're out of the business, has to be the way forward, and you're a perfect example of that.
I know I can buy cheaper machines. I can put, single spindle machines and a milling machine. I can put 3 guys on the floor. I get 8 hours a day, got three wages. In 5 years' time, when I'm selling that machine, I've got 3 very cheap machines to sell. Those guys have been paid, they owe me nothing. You spend more money on a Star, get half your money back when it's 5 years old.
There's the advert.
It works out cheaper.
Yeah, there's the advert. That's what
how
you
much
mean.
was that worth?
They've literally had. Thank you so much. Yeah, he does. He does.
Thank you very much.
So much. Thank you. I know that. I think it was like 2 o'clock or something. They had a flight come over from Ireland, or I think 1 o'clock. But by the time they arrived here, they had a flight of Irish customers coming over. Hopefully, maybe there might be someone else to come on air. But
so we go from Ireland to Scotland.
Yes.
Well, hey, we're
Mr. Hogg here now. If you've just tuned in, we've been streaming for about an hour and a half. We've toured the Star GB Open House. We've talked to their customers. The last customer talking about how he's literally left the machine running in Ireland and he's here and it's churning parts out. We've talked to the providers of equipment that's associated with the machines, and we're now going to talk to Graham Hogg from SolidCam, who assists in the programming of some of these really sophisticated components.
I'm going to go get some of those parts as well.
Yeah,
Let me go grab some, get some
and
parts.
this is where we're going to close off this stream shortly. If you are listening, you can watch this on YouTube on Catch Up. You'll be able to then, of course, see the guests that we're actually talking to. But if you are listening to it, hopefully we're covering off as much as we can to help you learn more about Star GB. Graham, do you want to just give us a 30-second description of SolidCam and what you do and what brings you here to the open house? What do you offer sliding head users?
SolidCam UK. We're independent from SolidCam worldwide, but we work obviously very closely with them. And over the years, SolidCam have focused very much so on sliding head, mill turn strategies for software. We're obviously here today supporting Star because they're working a very good partnership with them. And our software lends itself very much to the software type machines, to the sliding head machines that they use, to the extent that we have an ST20 3-axis Star up at our technical centre in Barnsley. We had a SR38 Type B before that, and then it's a sort of rolling agreement we have with them. When the ST goes, they'll give us another machine, and we'll take it on for there. So we do live demonstrations. We've got one next week coming up, which I'll not go into because it's their event.
Well, that's a really good overview, Graham, and I think that the part that Lyndsey's actually got in her hands at the moment, this is something that you couldn't do without a CAM system, could you?
Absolutely not. That's no duckboard programming at all. That absolutely needs a CAM system. The power of the software to run that is phenomenal. That was one of the first impellers that was produced on a sliding head. It was produced up in Barnsley on the SR38 Type B using simultaneous 5-axis. That component that Lyndsey's got in her hand at the moment, that was done on the ST20.
Because I'm looking at that impeller and I'm thinking that's a 5-axis machine, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a 5-axis machine, and I mean the video that's running.
But it's a 5-axis machine. What I'm saying, a lot of people will look at that and go,
"Absolutely,
I'm going to do that on a 5-axis."
I think the thing is with the advancement of Star, with the technology that they've put into the machines, you hold up a component now, a milled part these days, and you show that to someone, and they say, "Oh, was that done on we could name loads of the CNC mills. And you say, no, I was actually on a star sliding head. And they're like, yeah, you're joking. You're having a laugh. And how long did it take you? Oh, it takes 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It's irrelevant. But the parts actually don't look like turn parts. But, you know, there's so many axes on the machines now. I mean, the ST20's got 12 axes on it. Some of them got more than that on them. So you get to the realms of producing parts. And it's a one hit as well, you know,
well, how long does that take, Graham? How long does it take to machine?
Which part?
The impeller.
Oh, I've gone through them all. I've been doing my hand modelling.
The impeller from start to finish, and that's just showing it in a demo mode. Took about, I think it was about 30 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's fast.
Yeah. And at the back of it, we put the iMachining logo on it, which is SolidCam's one of the flyers, like, you know, just to show a bit of.
So you can finish the back end on a 5-axis machine. You'd have to pick it up and intervene, wouldn't you, potentially? But with this, you can drag it across to the sub spindle and finish the part.
You've got the transferal, you know, from the main spindle to the sub spindle, and you're also back machining as well. So you're machining. You can when we get to the stage when you're using the sub spindle and the main spindle, you know, it begins to look more and more intricate and more difficult. But the benefit of the SolidCam, the benefit of the cam itself, reduces that difficulty, because it's impossible to make that stand and to cut and paste it off a normal cam and get into the system. It just wouldn't do it. You possibly could, but you'd be working it for weeks. Whereas that part, Mark sat and programmed it. It probably took a day, you know, a day and a half. And that was for a bit of raw material. And when people get good enough, trained up on the cam, they're doing it in the same time as well. You know, it's not like it's only us guys that can do it because we've got the experience. You know,
it's fascinating, Graham, and so long are the days gone. I mean, you still can program at the machine, and there's other softwares, of course, but it's great to be able to see that something like that can be programmed via a cam system and made on a sliding head. Yeah, it's probably a good point to finish on, isn't it? Is that? Do you think is Scotland going to win that in a couple of weeks' time, or are they?
Sadly, not. No, it's. I mean,
Wales, maybe.
Why is everyone laughing?
I mean,
hopefully it will be.
We've had a long-term relationship with Star. Well, it started the last time that Scotland qualified for a World Cup. So.
Right. Okay.
That's how far back we go with them.
We'll say no more. Interested in cam solutions? Then, of course, SolidCam can be talked to when it's sliding head lathes and beyond.
Yeah, it's been a great relationship with them. It will continue. It makes these machines simplistic to run, to program. You know, more and more people are buying them. One machine because of the complexity and the dark science that's always been around them. You know, it gives you that advantage of putting SolidCam software on it, and you can program a part, 3 or 4 parts a day, sort of thing, and that. You know. It's very good. We have a great relationship. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Do not forget, this event is on tomorrow. It is not the last day. So if you would like to come down 9 till 5 tomorrow, they've got food in the middle of the day. They've got drinks for you. You'll be well looked after, and you've got a team behind it all to back it up. So if you've got any questions, if you want to venture into the world of sliding head machines, come to Derby tomorrow, 24th of November. Thank you for watching and listening, and we'll see you very soon.
One time, Graham.
Sadly, we'll not win the World Cup.